This is news on Good News Catholic Communications. I am Kisson Ferguson.
And I am April Thomas.
In the headlines, Liturgy Commission holds choir workshop as a lead-up to Advent.
Clergy on retreat November 19th to the 24th.
Father Mark laid to rest.
United Nations Regional Coordinator Office Grenada collaborates with ministry to hold cleanup on Palmist Beach.
Grenada's 50th anniversary celebrations kick into high gear as parishes begin preparations.
The details to these and more after the break.
You've never been closer than you are right now. Let's sing it out, y'all.
Welcome back. And now for the details. The Diocesan Liturgical Commission has begun preparations for the upcoming seasons of Advent and Christmas by hosting a series of workshops for cantors and choir members. Diocesan Liturgical Commission Program Director Dave Hopkins said there will be 3 workshops in the diocese with the aim of enhancing the music and hymn selection during the season.
The main focus today are 4-pronged. One has to do with the responsorial psalms for the season of Advent and Christmas. 2, we're going to review some of the songs in the Praise the Lord for Advent and Christmas and address the unfamiliar ones. The 3rd aspect is to look at new Advent and Christmas hymns and giving some direction as to how we incorporate contemporary Christmas and Advent music into the liturgy. So we have 3 workshops for the season. One at St. Andrews, dealing with the deanery and the western, the northeastern, and the western and southern deaneries in Guelph, and we will have one in Carriacou next weekend.
Due to the inclement weather which hindered attendance, Hopkins said the hymns and music will be collated and sent not only to choirs in parishes, but it would be available to the entire church.
While I sat there and I realized what was going on, what came to mind is that to collate some of those psalms and have a session on GNCC that persons can look at and even learn some of the songs. Additionally, we have created a resource material that is shareable, and there are links to both the YouTube, the sound, as well as music for the psalms and so on. So even if you did not come to the workshop, you can go to the resource material and get something from it.
Hopkins said we must be open to having an experience of Jesus when we gather to celebrate the liturgy.
Persons must have an encounter with Christ. And in doing that, we do all that we can as liturgical ministers to ensure that those experiences that people have are long-lasting and impactful. And as I said, encounter Christ in some way or form. So choir leaders, choir members, the priests, the Eucharistic ministers, the cleaners, whoever you are, when persons come to the liturgy, they must experience Christ, and that means preparation.
Christopher Julian, who facilitated the St. Andrew leg of the workshop at St. Andrew the Apostle Church, echoed Hopkins' idea of making the resources available digitally and reminding the church the hymn should not be a concert performance, but one which leads to worship and closer communion with God.
But most of the music now that we're doing, thanks to the internet, is all on YouTube. So, except the Caribbean hymnal. So we have to work on that. Okay? Except the Caribbean hymn, which you say not much of it is online. But most of the songs and psalms are now online and easy to follow along. And there are many other options that choirs can use. but we ask us to remain focused in the Catholic spirit of things. Okay, we have our liturgies, but be careful how you choose your hymns, choose your psalms and so on, that they're not performances, but they more bring out our spirit, our worship, okay? That we don't want to perform our psalms or perform our songs and hymns, but that they lead us into worship, into who Christ is.
Moving on. Our clergy will be on retreat from November 19th to the 24th, and the retreat will be facilitated by Father Jerry McGlone, a Jesuit priest from the United States.
Every year your priests and deacons go on retreat. This year is a bit special. We begin on this Sunday evening, the 19th of November. The preacher is a Jesuit, a very well-known and very experienced Jesuit, Father Jerry McGlone, from Catholic University in the United States. He has been doing retreats throughout the region in all the dioceses in an effort to get the priests and the deacons to be more in tune with some of the things that we as bishops would like to see happening in the light of the synod and so on. So he's a very experienced man, very, very experienced man, a psychologist by profession. So he will be there with us at Mount St. Evans. During that time, I notified the priests already, and now I'm notifying you. There should be no funerals in the diocese during that period.
Okay.
Because priests have a way of saying, oh, we want a funeral, and you go off to do the funeral, and you miss the spirit of the retreat.
Yes.
You miss a session in the retreat. So we are appealing to all of you, if you have a funeral to do, please don't schedule it during that time, or else you might have to ask a layperson to do it.
You are reminded to keep our clergy in your prayers during their week of retreat.
Staying with our clergy, Father Mark Haynes, who served the diocese for almost 40 years, was laid to rest on Monday, 6 November, with a reflective and solemn Mass at the Cathedral of the Immaculate Conception and entombment at his family cemetery in Woodford, St. John's. His nephew, Father Carl Haynes, who is also a diocesan priest and vicar general in the diocese, in delivering the homily, recalled the life of Mark Haynes and how he impacted the lives of others.
I think that Mark died as he lived. And those of us who truly, and I'm stressing on the word here, truly knew Mark, will know that Mark was a peaceful man. And last evening in the tributes, Father Sean attests to that. When three of them, himself, Mark, and Father Mulligan, lived at the cathedral. And of course, I believe at the time it was a heightened tension between North and South Ireland. And so you have Mulligan from the north and Sean from the south. And the tension that existed between them and the little banter, I would imagine, and quarrel, and each one holding on to their position. And Mark was the peacemaker. Mark was the one who had to put peace. He was the referee. A man of peace. He died a peaceful death.
He also reflected on Mark's life as a priest.
In this life, we have to embrace our suffering. We have to unite it with Christ, who suffered for us. And so there is no glory without the cross. And I believe that Mark, in his own way, embraced his suffering. And for those of us who knew Mark, we knew that he was a very, very stubborn man. When Mark decided that he was doing something, nobody could stop him. Once he was convinced that what he was doing was right, I don't think not even God will stop him.
Father Mark died on October 14th, 2023. We once again extend our condolences to the family and friends of Father Mark Haynes. We take a break and more news when we return.
Welcome back. The Palmas Beach received a cleanup on Saturday, November 11th from a team led by the United Nations Resident Coordinator Office Grenada in collaboration with the Ministry of Climate Resilience, the Environment and Renewable Energy, FLOW, Grenada Solid Waste Management Authority, and local community groups. Fiona Sandy, United Nations Resident Coordinator, explains how this initiative came about.
A number of countries signed the Agenda 2030, inclusive of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. And in the UN, at the level of the Secretary General, we've realized that we're 8 years in and there's still a lot of work to be done. And so this year was dedicated in the lead up to the SDG Summit in September this year. This year was dedicated to really accelerating progress towards achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals. And as a part of that, we were asked to see how we could, in countries, especially in small island developing states, ramp up partnerships, strengthen partnerships towards the goals. And in this particular event, the beach cleanup, we thought that it would be useful to reach out to the Ministry of Climate Resilience, see what their plans were, and really we have strong networks, and see if we could bring some of our networks with their networks and really create a really bigger impact.
United Nations Development Program Representative Carisha Hobson said this type of activity has direct and indirect benefits for us.
So doing these types of activities are very beneficial on two levels. On the direct level, we talk about cleaning our environment, and it is important to have a clean environment for several reasons. It impacts our health and well-being. The clean environment supports things like our fisheries. We're at the coast today, and we need to understand how a clean coastal areas impacts our fisheries, etc. Indirectly, we talk about raising awareness on the role of our environment to our lives, and ensuring that people understand why we need to do the things that we do, why we work so hard for even the bigger environmental issues like climate change and biodiversity, ensuring that we maintain our genetic stock, etc. And it's important, these sorts of activities give us an opportunity to raise awareness about this.
In attendance at the cleanup was Minister for Climate Resilience, the Environment and Renewable Energy, Honorable Kerrine James, who said this activity will make the beach user-friendly and signs will be erected to warn against polluting and desolation of the beach.
Our ministry, in collaboration with the local UN office in Grenada, as well as the Grenada Solid Waste Management Authority, some of the environmental NGOs, some of the environmental clubs in the schools in St. John, we've come together, collaborated, and partnerships, FLOW included as well, to make this beach cleanup a reality for the constituency of St. John. What we've seen over the past few years, months, weeks, days, is that quite a number of our beaches, some popular and those not so popular, there's a pollution problem, a lot of plastic pollution. So what we want to do is to not only look at beaches in the southern part of the island that tourists are known for, know it for, but to also come in these rural parts of the constituencies of the country to bring some kind of environmental consciousness and awareness that we have our part to play in protecting our environment and protecting our beaches and our coastal areas. So following this initiative here this morning, we are going to try and level off the beach. So what you're seeing around in the surrounding areas is as a result of sand mining. So quite a number of trucks come on the beach and illegally remove sand from the beach. So we're going to try and level it off, make it much more accommodating and user-friendly. And we're going to erect some signs for anti-littering signs and anti-sand mining signs.
Troy Courtney, Marketing and Communications Officer for FLOW Grenada, says Flow is happy to be a part of this initiative, and the company is leading the way in protecting the environment as they are now using a system that uses less electricity to operate.
From our end, as an organization, we've already started putting things in place to ensure that we can contribute to a sustainable environment. We've shut down our copper network, which was very heavy on the electrical side. It was very expensive to run. It took a lot of electricity in order for us to be able to run that network. And we have phased that out completely now, and we have moved to our HFC network, which enables us to operate at a lower cost to the environment. So we want to thank the ministry and the UN offices for reaching out to us and letting us be a part of this initiative. As you can see, I'm wearing a shirt that says Mission Week. From the 13th to the 17th of November, Flow will be doing similar initiatives like this in order for us to be able to give back to the communities that we operate in. So look out for us in your communities. We're going to be doing more events like these, and if it is that you want to volunteer and be a part of it, you can.
We say hats off to the United Nations Local Office, Ministry of Climate Resilience, the Environment and Renewable Energy, Flow, and the community groups that united in the fight against pollution.
Moving on October 31st, 2023, Grenada launched its 50th anniversary of independence celebrations and captured the hearts and imaginations of Grenadians everywhere, at home and abroad, with an explosion of vibrant culture which showcased our nation's rich heritage on the Carenage. As we journey towards 50 under the theme, One People, One Journey, One Future, the St. George Northeast Independence Celebration Committee has launched its flagship event, which looks to recognize and honor those who have helped develop Grenada. Mr. Derek James, chairman of the committee, explains.
We have decided to look at the areas of health, sports, community service, culture, agriculture, and business. And selecting these different areas, we have started the process of the community looking and committees looking at this effort for us. At the end of this process, the committee will filter it and come up with the names of the people. What we want is that we want to make sure that the people who have served this community over the years is recognized. And we're not looking at this as a one-off situation where, because it's 50th anniversary, we decided to recognize these people. Yes, but we want to continue recognizing the people of the Northeast for over the years of service. And probably later on we could look at other areas in terms of the youth contribution and so on. But we want to make sure that every sector of the community is involved.
Hugh Dolan, committee member, recognizes that many successful Grenadians have come from the Northeast.
We just started reminiscing in terms of the days in Bolio, in the days of the Northeast and what and so on. And we decided, something, it would be a good idea. We spoke of the past principals of the school, Bolio School, Vendom, Constantine. We had a nursing station right in the junction in Boca there. We had a nurse Otway there. You have so many businesses, businessmen from the Northeast who are, in fact, the leading businessmen and women in Grenada. Undoubtedly. And surely when the presentations are made, you're going to prove me right in saying what I'm saying. And we clearly recognize that as a community, because we were not thinking about any structured group per se. We just felt that we are from the Northeast. We recognize that there are a number of persons who have played a very meaningful role in the overall development of the Northeast and Grenada, and thought that these persons ought to be recognized.
Dr. Sonia Nixon highlights the areas that will be recognized.
This is kind of a reunion of sorts and a reignition of the vibrancy that the Northeast enjoyed in the years before. Growing up in the Northeast, I always remember how much there was youth involvement. Somebody forgot to mention the football teams and all the stuff that happened in the Northeast in the years before the election. There has been some dormancy, and it's a good time for us to reunite. However, we have decided so far on 7 areas: health, education, agriculture, culture, sports, community development and business, that we're going to recognize people from the area and who have made significant contributions to Grenada as a whole.
50 persons will be recognized for their service to Grenada.
Wonderful initiative there.
Yes, indeed. And you know, Bishop Harvey has also asked that our church parishes get on board with the celebrations and start planning activities. We look forward to what they have to offer.
I agree. When we return, a look at what's happening in the world of sports. Welcome back. For the first time, the Spice Isle will participate in the premier Paralympics Games in the Americas. Grenada will be represented by 3 athletes at the Para-Pan Am Games in Santiago, Chile, November 17th to 27th. Leading the Grenada team is Junior Commonwealth Games bronze medalist in the discus, Tyler Smith, a student of J.W. Fletcher Catholic Secondary School. He will again look for honors in the discus, competing in the F24 classification. Nickel Walters, gold medalist in the javelin in 2021 Arizona Desert Games, participates in the javelin and discus. Cyclist Sheldon Francois will compete for the first time in Paralympics. His event is the 10-kilometer road race. The cyclist, who has both sight and hearing challenges, is a consistent competitor in national competitions staged by the Grenada Cycling Association and the Grenada Triathlon Association. Francois is the first Grenadian cyclist to compete in an international Paralympics event. The Grenada Paralympics Committee revealed that the athletes and coaches have invested much time into their preparations for the Games and is optimistic they will all give off their best. That's it for the sporting highlights. A look at what's happening across the diocese and a recap of the headlines when we return.
Going through a storm, but I won't go down. I hear your voice carried in the rhythm of the wind to call me out. You've never been closer than you are right now.
Let's sing it loud, y'all.
Welcome back. Let's take a look at what's happening across the diocese. This weekend, Our Lady Help of Christians Parish Bolio will have their parish fiesta Saturday 18th November at Vendome RC School grounds. Join them for lots of fun, including bouncing castle, games, entertainment, food stalls, and much more.
St. Joseph's RC Church, Pomerose, will be having its Grand Harvest on Saturday, December 9th, 2023, at Pomerose RC School grounds. 12 p.m. to midnight. There will be a teenage dance party, so go out and support.
Budgegrove Can Cook, the Christmas edition, December 14th at the St. Matthew's RC Church grounds. A wide variety of food and drinks. Fun for the entire family. Tickets only cost $25. Remember to send us all the details on your upcoming events so that we can share. And now, a recap of the headlines.
Liturgy Commission holds choir workshop as a lead-up to Advent.
Clergy on retreat, November 19th to 24th.
Father Mark laid to rest.
United Nations Regional Coordinator's Office Grenada collaborates with ministry to hold cleanup on Palmis Beach.
Grenada's 50th anniversary celebrations kick into high gear as parishes begin preparation.
On behalf of all those who made this newscast possible, I am Kison Ferguson.
And I am April Thomas. Thanks for staying with us.